She was freezing, her lips trembling as snow clung to her hair. The officer knelt beside her, but her next words made his blood run cold. "Don't let them take me back." Seconds later, his K9 growled, a sound that would unravel a dark secret no one saw coming. A lone figure crawled on the icy surface, her hands raw and bleeding from the cold. Her breath came in short, frantic bursts, misting the air as if her soul itself was trying to escape. Behind her, the crunch of boots grew louder. She turned her head slightly. Panic flared in her eyes, but it wasn't who she feared. It was a police officer, his silhouette cutting through the storm. At his side, a German shepherd padded silently, sharp eyes scanning every shadow. The woman tried to speak, but her lips trembled too violently. Finally, in a voice barely louder than the wind, she choked out the words that made the officer freeze in place. "Don't let them take me back." Her plea wasn't just fear. It was terror, pure and unrelenting. Officer Mark's pulse quickened as the woman's words hung in the icy air. "Don't let them take me back." What did that mean? Who were they? He knelt beside her, his gloved hand hovering over her shoulder, unsure whether to comfort or restrain. But the raw terror in her eyes told him there wasn't time. Beside him, Rex growled low, his ears pricked, gaze fixed on the tree line beyond. The road. The dog was alert, muscles coiled like a spring. Mark knew that stance. It wasn't random. Rex sensed something, or someone, out there. Mark scanned the endless white, his breath fogging. The storm muffled distant sounds, but a feeling gnawed at him. They weren't alone. Whatever she had run from wasn't far behind. And for the first time in years, Mark felt fear creep in. She worked long shifts at a diner, saving every penny for a better future. Then came the brochure, bright and promising. Healing Haven, a safe place for women in crisis. They offered free therapy, a quiet retreat, a chance to rebuild. It sounded like hope. The first day felt comforting. Smiles greeted her at the door. Gentle voices told her she was safe now. But the walls hid secrets. Doors locked from the outside. No phones, no internet. And the smiles? They vanished once she signed the papers. 18 night. She heard muffled cries through the vents. Girls who tried to run never came back. The staff whispered about treatments, but she learned the truth. Trafficking masked as therapy. They controlled everything. Food, sleep, even thoughts. She planned her escape in silence, waiting for a storm big enough to cover her tracks. When it came, she ran barefoot through snow, her lungs burning, fear clawing at her ribs. She didn't know where she was going. Only that if they found her, she'd never see daylight again. A sudden shift in the air made Mark glance up. Through the curtain of snow, headlights pierced the gray horizon. A black SUV crept along the deserted road, its engine humming low, almost predatory. The woman's breath hitched. She clutched his sleeve with trembling fingers, her nails digging through the fabric. "It's them," she whispered, her voice cracking like fragile ice. Her eyes darted toward the approaching vehicle, wide with sheer panic. Rex barked sharply, his fur bristling, stance rigid. The German shepherd's growl rumbled like distant thunder, a warning that something was deeply wrong. Mark's hand instinctively hovered near his holster. The SUV rolled closer, tires crunching against frozen gravel, then slowed to a stop just a few yards away. Two silhouettes moved inside. Waiting. Mark's gut twisted. Whatever this was, it wasn't a rescue. It was a hunt. The SUV door opened with a heavy thud, and two men stepped out, their boots crunching against the frozen ground. Both wore thick winter coats, their faces shadowed by hoods. "Officer," he called, voice calm but carrying an edge. "Thank God you found her. She's from our facility, mentally unstable. We've been searching all night." The woman flinched and shook her head violently. "No," she cried, her voice cracking. "They're lying." She tried to cling to Mark's arm, desperation pouring from her every word. Mark's instincts screamed louder than their rehearsed explanation. Something about their confidence didn't fit. Then he saw it, a detail that didn't match. Their boots were spotless, no snow clinging to the soles. They hadn't been out searching in this storm. Beside him, Rex growled deep, hackles raised, body like a drawn bow. He sensed the truth before Mark could process it. The taller man took another step forward, flashing papers. Here's the authorization. Stay right there. Mark snapped, his hand gripping his weapon. The storm roared around them, but the silence between the four of them was louder. Something was about to break. Mark's boots scrambled for grip as adrenaline surged through him. The second man darted toward the woman, his arm outstretched like a snare. Rex, take him. Mark roared. The German shepherd exploded into motion, a blur of muscle and teeth. His jaws clamped onto the attacker's arm with a feral snarl, dragging him down onto the frozen ground. The man screamed, thrashing as snow sprayed around them. Mark regained his footing just in time to block the first man's punch, countering with a sharp elbow to the ribs. Pain shot through his shoulder, but he didn't stop. He drove the man face first into the snow, fumbling for his cuffs. The woman shrieked as the second man tried to rise, Rex still holding firm, growling deep. From his chest, blood dotted the pristine white. Hands behind your back, Mark barked, his voice slicing through the storm. The taller man spat curses but obeyed as cold steel locked around his wrists. The fight was over. For now. But as Mark looked into their eyes, he saw something chilling. They weren't afraid. Not yet. Red and blue lights finally cut through the storm as backup units arrived, tires skidding on ice. Officers poured out, weapons drawn, taking control of the scene. Mark exhaled hard, chest burning, as Rex released his grip and trotted back, muzzle streaked with blood and snow. The two men were dragged to waiting cruisers, spitting lies and threats. But the truth wasn't in their words, it was in what Mark found next. The woman sat trembling in the snow, clutching a thermal blanket an officer had given her. When Mark met her eyes, they were hollow, broken, but alive. They take girls, she whispered, voice raw. Sell them. Hide it behind. Therapy. Mark closed the folder, his jaw tight. This wasn't just a case. This was a network. A machine built on stolen lives. And tonight, because of Rex, that machine had lost a piece. Hours later, the station was warm and quiet, a stark contrast to the chaos outside. The woman sat wrapped in a heavy blanket, a steaming mug of tea trembling in her hands. Her face was pale, eyes rimmed red, but there was color in her cheeks now, a flicker of life fighting its way back. Mark stood near the doorway, watching as a female officer spoke gently to her, taking notes for the report. Rex lay at Mark's feet, head resting on his paws, his chest rising in slow, steady breaths. When the woman looked up, her eyes found Rex first. For the first time, a faint smile ghosted across her lips. She whispered something, so soft Mark barely heard it. You didn't let them take me back. Her words hit him like a weight, heavy with meaning. Mark crouched down, resting a hand on Rex's fur. You hear that, buddy? You're the hero tonight. The dog's tail thumped once against the floor, as if he understood. Outside, snow still fell, blanketing the world in silence. But inside, one truth stood unshaken. Sometimes, the smallest growl can tear down the darkest walls. If this story sent chills down your spine, imagine how many real stories never see the light of day. One dog's instinct, one officer's choice, that's what saved her life tonight. Now, let me ask you, what would you have done in Mark's place? Comment below and share your thoughts. And if this story moved you, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss stories that reveal courage, hope, and the fight against darkness. Because sometimes, the truth hides in the quietest whispers.